Let me just post a swipe up. There we are. We're live. Was just on these decks last. This guy. There he is. Shaun Belbey, point guard, Syracuse University, NBA performance trainer. We can say that, right? It's a proper title. Was just on these decks last. All right, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. That camera looks crooked. I gotta fix that. And we're live. All right. We'll allow that. Shaun, my man, what's going on? How you doing today?
What's going on, Brandon? Nothing much. I appreciate you having me on the show.
It's an honor, man. Someone else
Yeah,
to don the number 24 jersey at Syracuse
the
University.
number 24 jersey. It's legendary for those who've worn it.
It is. I mean,
Not,
who else we got? We got Matt Gorman. I mean,
yeah.
Cuse legend.
hmm
But outside of that, I don't know if there's any other number 24s I can think
I
of.
don't know.
I mean, it's that exclusive of a club.
It's an extremely exclusive club, and I always tell people, when I originally started out with number three. My freshman year, I wore number three,
Hmm.
and that caused me and GMAC not to have such a great relationship. He wasn't too happy I was wearing number three at the time.
No.
Yeah, because like I didn't properly ask him, to wear it. But I mean, we're real tight now. We're like best friends. So it's all good.
Gary was mad at you?
Yeah, it's a little disappointed in me. But
That
then
is so
yeah,
Jerry.
but then my sophomore year, going into my sophomore year, someone, a scholarship player, big time player came and took number three from me, so I had to change my number, and I went to 24. And I always tell people two reasons I switched my number to 24. One, obviously Kobe Bryant. Second reason is Brandon Reese, and that is because back in my day, back in my high school days, middle school days, I would go to the Syracuse practices and watch this little white guy, be the starting point guard for the Orange team, and he motivated me throughout my high school career to work hard so I could one day do that and be that position. And I did. I was the starting point guard for the Orange team for 3-4 years, and it was a lot of fun. So I credit you to my success.
Wow. See, didn't get number 3, but you got number 24,
Yeah,
and you didn't
yeah,
know how much that would mean to me right there. I don't think I've heard that full story, man. Dude,
it means a
unreal.
lot. Unreal.
Unbelievable. Yeah, dude. I got to get a hold of Jerry and yell at him for that. That's such a Jerry seniority thing to do.
Yeah,
But
but
he's great. No,
he's great. He's unbelievable.
he started coaching when around my sophomore or junior year. He came back into the
hmm
program.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's unreal though. He's
he's
such a good
unbelievable.
guy. I mean, I haven't
Yeah,
seen him in years, and I know he's got what, like 4 kids now.
yeah, 4 kids. Yeah,
He only had 1 kid when I was there, so I can only imagine
really.
that
Yeah,
that baby's got to be 7, 8, 9 years old.
yeah, yeah. His oldest, his name is Jerry. His oldest son. Uh, yeah, probably 8, 9, something like that. I'm not sure.
That's just a sign I got to get back there. Last time I spoke with Jerry, it was after I hit that half court shot at a Miami Heat game.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
That's so funny.
that was on a first date too. Imagine
Really,
that. Yeah,
really.
we stopped dating after that.
Okay.
I mean, you set the bar that high on a first date.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
where does it go from there?
I don't know. I don't think it can go anywhere else.
There's too much expectations, not just on the both of us, but me.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to put I don't want to
Exactly.
put myself through that.
Right. I feel you.
But no, man, you got wrapped up. You're just wrapping up your senior year. It sucks,
hmm
for everybody tuning in. Shaun Belbey, point guard, Syracuse University. Don's the legendary number 24, and you've been a player there. This was your 5th year, correct?
Fifth year. Yeah. Fifth year. Correct.
So I mean, this is your 5th year, and you
are experiencing COVID, this pandemic firsthand.
Mm-hmm. Right.
What's going on? I mean, I in terms of like, the season's fucked. No one can
Mm-hmm.
go back and
Right.
no, I don't know if they're gonna. Did they mention that they're gonna be accrediting an ACC champion or a tournament
They
champion or
did.
just a wash?
They credited Florida State to the ACC as the ACC champion, just because they had the best record in the league. They won the league, so it was just like they won the tournament as well.
Oh, they gave them the tournament title too.
Not the NCAA tournament, the ACC tournament title.
Tournament, yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't credit like an NCAA tournament title, whatever. But yeah, it's a crazy time. So
Dude, it's nuts. It's what's happening at Cuse. What's happening with a lot of guys in the program right now? I mean, are guys leaving? Are guys staying?
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot's going on with like Georgetown. I mean, I saw
Mm-hmm.
Matt McGloin. He's planning
Matt
on
McClung,
transferring.
yeah,
It'd be nuts if North Carolina gets him. What a good pickup.
right,
For them.
right.
Any guys from Cuse freaking out? I mean, how's everybody doing over there?
I think everybody's good. So it's like we beat North Carolina on that Thursday on ESPN, and then we were supposed to play Friday. And we woke up and we just thought we were going to play that game that night. A couple of the other tournaments have canceled their tournaments, but the ACC came out and made a statement. They're like, "Oh, like we're playing our games tonight." So we were real excited. There were going to be no fans, but we were still excited to play. And then around 1 or 2 o'clock that day, we got the call that we weren't playing. So we left right away from North Carolina. We got on the plane, with Birdman, went right back to Cuse.
Shout out Brian.
And
Birdman.
Yeah, the GOAT.
Let's talk to that guy.
Legend. So we flew back to Cuse that day, and then the next day, Boeheim sent us all home. Just said, go home. And then we were all planning on meeting back in Syracuse like a week or two later, but then obviously things got a lot worse than they were. So we've all been home ever since. But we've had 4 people transfer out since the end of the season.
Whoa.
From Syracuse, yeah. So I think we're at Jalen Carey.
I saw that one, yeah.
Howard Washington, Bryson Goodine.
Those first 2 are guards, right?
Yeah, all 3 are guards.
Okay.
And then a walk-on. A walk-on I actually transferred out.
Whoa, a walk-on transfer.
Yeah.
That's more buzz than the other 3 right there.
Yeah, Brendan Paul, and then he's going to play Division II.
Okay, sweet. Why these other 3 guys left? And I mean,
I'm not sure.
Moving in college basketball right now, it seems like it's
a lot. Yeah, there's I think it's like the record, like 800, 500, 600, like somewhere in that range. People have transferred this year so far, and they're in like the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not really sure. Playing time's tough, in the ACC level. So I don't really know why they transferred, but I'm sad to see them go. They're all great kids, great players.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, they'll do great at whatever school they pick to go to.
Well, I mean, playing time is tough, even just for Coach Boeheim.
Yeah,
I mean, he
exactly.
plays a very limited.
Rotation. 6-7 max. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the depth of the squad, I mean, 9 is like a big year. If he's pushing 9, and I think like on my senior year, I mean, you guys think about the backcourt we had: Carter Williams, Brandon Trish, Scoop Jardine, Dion Waiters, and I'd say I was the 5th guard at that point. I mean, I don't know if I missed anybody right there. And then, I mean, you even guys that coming down from the bottom, the Chris Josephs. Who could play up top and play the top of that zone. So, we were deep that year.
Yeah.
Rakeem, CJ, James, there was a lot of squabbling with Coach that year because everybody wanted time. And, there wasn't
tough,
time
man. Yeah. It's tough.
You got to have some great times at Cuse. What was one of your
I did.
Not your top moments, but give me a good coach story, your favorite coach story.
Coach story? Man.
You get to see Coach Boeheim in ways no one else can.
There's so many. Yeah. There's so many coach stories, and I listened to a few probably about a month ago now. I think it was MCW and Chris Joe went IG Live. And they told the story about how you broke Coach Boeheim's finger in practice. Yeah. And I just want to let you know that still rumbles around the gym today. Because it's like you know the drill. When we're playing 5-on-5, for some reason he's just always walking on the court. So when someone gets right down the middle, so when someone gets the rebound and we go push the fast break, a couple guys almost hit him every single play. And it's unfortunate that you were the one to actually run him over. I've never seen it done. There's been a couple of really,
the shortest guy of all people.
Yeah, of course. There's been a couple of really close calls in my time, but he's gone out of the way just in time, or people dribble around him just in time. But man, there's so many good coach stories. I don't even know.
Well, come on, you can't use that one. That's technically.
All right. Yeah. I'm just letting you know that story still, is in the gym in the air.
Well, I hear there's a legend that because he's got like metal rods in his hand, but on cold winter nights, he's got to leave his hand on a pillow, and
yeah,
it's so cold out there in the winter times they can feel it throb in his hand. So the ghost of Brandon Reese is still like just haunting him.
Wow.
Just as a rumor. So it's a rumor I've heard.
Yeah, I've had this year. He yelled at me he went off on me one time real bad during practice. We were playing like 4-on-4, and for some reason one of our big man, like there was no one guarding him.
This is the 4-on-4 rebound drill, right?
Yeah. So it was like he was like a little extended. He was like in the short corner, and he was like trying to shoot a jump shot. But I passed it to him, and I led him to like the block so he could just shoot a layup. Like I led him with the pass, and he just watched it go over his head, and it just went out of bounds. And he screamed at me. He was like, "What are you doing? Like, I'm right here." And I screamed at him, and I was like, "Bro, like, just go to the basket. Like, there's no one guarding you." And then Coach Boeheim blew the whistle and started screaming at me and telling me I'm not the coach, and let him yell at the player. But I was on the right, and then he started yelling at our big guy for not, cutting to the basket for a wide open layup. But there's so many, man. He's a great coach, though. He's a great guy.
Oh yeah, I learned so much from him as a player. I mean, I still would say, as much as we didn't agree on a lot of things then, and me and him got into a few arguments. I broke his hand.
Yeah.
Our relationship was a little tainted at that point, but he, as I spoke with Devo in the show the other day, if you were out there competing and pushing and trying to win, even at practice at a high level, he respected that. It's just
right.
It's just a different way of respect and love, if you want to say it, that he shows.
Yeah,
it's an old school kind of way, and especially the way you talk to your players. I mean, he runs a pro style college basketball program. I would say.
Yeah, 100%.
Compared to what I hear about a lot of other college players and how it goes, it's like you kind of got the reins to do what you want. I mean, our schedules are pretty busy, but we really have the availability and affordability to go off and do our own thing. But the onus is going to come on you to get in the weight room, get those extra 500 to 1,000 shots, and stay an extra hour or two after practice. So, I mean, I know we had a few guys that they needed a lot more. They needed They needed more people on top of them, making sure they're in the gym doing this. What does the program look like now? I mean, are guys slipping through the cracks? Are the I think that would fall like on the assistants. What's it look like now over there?
That's a great way to put it. I've never really thought of it that way. But you're right. It's like a NBA program. Coach Boeheim treats you like you're a grown adult. He lets you make the decisions for yourself. If you're not going to stay around practice for an extra hour or two and get your work in, he's not going to force you, but it's on you to do that. And, if you want to play and play well, then you're going to have to do that and make the decisions for yourself. But yeah, like we have a lot of freedom and a lot of time to do whatever we want, as long as we don't get in trouble. So you know how it goes. But
yeah,
I wouldn't say anyone's slipping through the cracks really, but it's just, some guys, like you said, some guys do need that extra push, especially when guys come in as freshmen, they don't really know how hard you have to work to get on the court. So some guys do need that extra push from the assistant coaches. Like, hey, we're getting in the gym tonight after practice, whatever, things like that.
Well, especially coming from that AAU and the way high school programs look nowadays, and, how much some of these guys are catered and treated, hey, you're coming to a program. A lot of these guys now are the best as freshmen, which is, insane that, they are able to, again, transfer from the speed of high school to college, and then eventually if those guys are coming in crushing they're able to adapt to that speed of college to pro because, going in from, I know for me, high school to college, it wasn't necessarily the speed. I was always lightning fast. It was, I have to be able to manipulate my speed. I have to be able to stop on a dime and then turn it up to 1,000 miles per hour if I'm going to get around these guys, get my shot up, get a quick little scoop layup because, I mean, the way the game changes, it's so much more refined at every level. It's not necessarily, how would you say, it's not necessarily, faster or stronger. The individuals are, but the game is just so much tighter. And you see that with the NBA. No guy's putting like 5 or 6 moves on somebody to get around them.
Right.
That's street ball bullshit. And you used to get that. Like I feel the base, and I know I want to get into this with you because you've been working with a lot of NBA guys and college guys on training. It's just so tight and everything. Especially I learned my freshman year from Coach Hop. Like everything starts from like the hesitation move. And out of that hesitation move, like that's where you're getting your base read from. And whether that guy raises those shoulders up or, he backs up, you're getting that shot or you're going by him. Add that additional between the legs or crossover or the combo move is second. And I know you put that stuff up in like your films on Instagram. It's like, hey, hitting that guy with the off step inside out, it's moving on a downhill tight angle. So I want you to like kind of explain how important it is, especially to any of these hoopers who are listening or people watching, because the game is so tight on angles and like getting to the basket in a straight line as possible.
I mean, like you said, I feel like the game probably like a couple years ago, it kind of went to that street ball, nonsense where, especially in AAU and high school, that's all kids were doing. You see on these mixtapes and things like that. But I feel like now, especially in college and the pros, if you don't have the fundamentals, you're not playing nowadays. You have to be able to shoot. You have to be able to dribble and pass. And you even see the centers and power forwards stepping out and being able to shoot the three. But it's all about the fundamentals these days, I feel like. And if you can't shoot, you can't be on the court, whether you're in college or the NBA. So I've seen a lot of great players, come through Syracuse, and if they can't shoot, you can't be on the court really, because you're just a liability.
The game's so spread out now. I mean, you have to be a spot up shooter, you have to be a pull up shooter, or else. I mean, the game evolved. There's no more big men. You see that in the Last Dance documentary. The evolution away from the center position, but it's forced people to be more skilled. So, like you said, more skilled players are the players who are being favored towards. It's not necessarily they're taking their side, but the league encourages that through the rules and calls. So it's interesting to watch the evolution of the game happen.
Obviously you have like those freaks like Russell Westbrook and Derrick Rose, who obviously aren't great 3-point shooters, but I mean, those are just two of the best athletes in the world, so they can kind of get away with it a little bit. But if you're not athletic like those guys, you have to be able to knock down the 3 ball.
Man, watching their hesitation moves, it's just nuts. Like, and I try and point that out to people when I'm watching the NBA with like a lay person and or just a regular fan, and we're watching. I'm just like, just watch that they're trying to get to the basket in a straight line, and when you watch those hesitations they do, those guys, I mean, just go at such a tight angle. They make that hesitation, and they're getting that shoulder below the guy's knee to go by him. And like you said, those athletic individuals, like the Derrick Roses and Russell Westbrooks, I mean, they just blow by people. But again, I mean, it's I don't enjoy the regular season NBA. I think they really got to do a better job making that a little bit more
competitive.
Competitive is the best way to put it, because until it comes down to playoffs, and the playoff basketball ends up looking completely different. After watching the regular season, it goes way more 90s basketball. The half court game is way more established. There's a lot more half court sets than the up and down running fast break bullshit. So, I mean, what do you think about that? What do you think about when you've been growing up and watching basketball to see where it's at today?
It's a lot different. The angles thing is a really good point. I've grown up, I had a lot of great coaches. My middle school coach was actually on one of Michael Jordan's championship Bulls teams. But like I
Which
never
coach?
was. His name is Tim Andre. I don't think he played a lot, but he was on one of the Bulls teams, and
Sure.
he has a championship ring and everything. But I have some great coaches, and I never was taught about angles until I got to Syracuse with GMAC.
Right?
It's just like I feel like people don't know about it. Like it's just weird, but the Syracuse staff really like taught that to me and brought it into my game, and it really helped me a lot, especially going up against the trees. Guys like 6'7", 6'8". If you're a small guard like the two of us are, those angles are so important. So.
I mean, it's the Syracuse lineage of coaching. I mean,
Mhm,
it's interesting because we joke about it. If I'm talking with Brian Kabilis, the strength training coach, if I
mhm,
go back to the program, or I'm just joshing it up or tossing it around with any of the guys, and we joke about like how the practices are still exactly the same.
mhm.
And I think
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I think we've done the same practice all this time. However,
Yeah.
even like for example, like Mike Hopkins isn't there anymore, but
Mhm,
Mike Hopkins came in under GMAC came under Coach Hop,
mhm,
and like what I noticed when we were there, Jerry was learning everything under Hop. Jerry
mhm,
came in under Hop, played under Hop, so hearing that even like that philosophy is being passed down is like
mhm.
that's a strong basketball culture right there. So
Yeah,
I love
definitely.
that because that's this exact thing that Hop said to me when I got there. Basketball is a
Mhm,
game of angles. I talk with Scoop.
mhm,
Scoop and I are close, and we always
mhm,
joke around about that. We're talking hoops, and just if you aren't like able to look at that game,
mhm,
and again, it's like what I think is important is finding real world, not capacity, but real world. I can't think of the proper phrase or term for it, but if you can find real world application and then
mhm.
bring it into hoops and find
Yeah.
ways to tie it in together. So, with wouldn't say which terms of it'd be physics, what level of science,
Mhm,
or the fastest distance between 2 points is a straight line.
mhm.
So same thing goes in basketball. If you can't get by this guy and this guy's
Right.
stepping left and right, but if you can look at that on a very smaller, nuanced level, you can say,
Mhm,
oh, okay. I got to get by
mhm.
this guy a little faster. What is going to get me to get by these guys faster?
Right.
And I mean, you get to work with these. You've been working with a lot of college guys while you've
Mhm,
been doing this stuff, and you've been working with a lot of pro guys. What is it that you're teaching these guys? What is it that these guys are asking you to work on?
mhm,
What is like the hot thing that people want to do right now?
mhm. I mean, it's different. The college to NBA game, it's when guys go to the pros, they think they just train differently. They still work out really hard, but it's just a different type of workout. It's kind of hard to explain. It's just a little laid back. There's no the pro guys, the NBA guys. It's no GMAC. It's no GMAC 6 a.m. workout. Where it's just an hour nonstop. It's none of that. It's more, more skills, more teaching, a little bit more talking just within the workout. How's your body feel, stuff like that. How's this feel? How's that feel? A lot of shooting, just because if you can't shoot, like we said in the NBA, you're not playing. You can't get on the court. But that's really it. The college game, though, I would go back to the gym at night this year and work out with some of the guys, and just try and help them in any way possible, really, whatever they're struggling with, just things like that.
Yeah. I've noticed that too. It's when with the pro guys, it's kind of like
Hmm.
okay, it's already established. It's kind of right
Hmm.
now it's maintaining.
Yeah.
If I got here
Because.
already, I gotta keep that shot. I gotta make
Hmm.
sure I'm still keeping at that 30,
Hmm.
36 to 44% mark. I mean, if you want to be making
Yeah.
big bucks, you want to be shooting
Right.
between that 36 to 44% from the three
Mhm.
point line. So I gotta be making sure I'm taking those 26 footers
Yeah.
and I'm hitting them. One out of
Hmm.
minimum one out of three,
Hmm.
and and then like you said, it's just maintaining the
Hmm.
body. But um, and then with college, like you said, it's way more skills based because you're not
Hmm.
there yet. These guys
Right.
still got to work on this. They're still developing their game. They're still
Hmm.
refining their game. I mean, growth spurts can still happen. There's some
Yeah.
crazy growth spurts that some of these young dudes go through, man.
Hmm.
Nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, what is something that a lot of these kids can continue to work on? Because I know there's a lot of young guys that do listen to the show in terms of
Hmm.
middle school, high school, especially when I have some basketball people on.
Hmm.
What is it besides that angle stuff? What is it besides
Hmm.
dribbling work? Or is it really just the jump shooting like we talked about? Because a lot of guys, jump shooting has become such a big facet of the game.
I mean, obviously, yeah, it's the jump shot, and ball handling, I think. I've seen a lot of guys who's like, they get away with it because they're so athletic, but if you look at them closely, it's like they really don't feel comfortable handling the ball under pressure and getting to the basket and things like that. So I'd say those two things are the main things that a lot of college guys still have to work on it, if they want to make it to the NBA, ball handling and especially shooting. The difference between the college three and the NBA three, it's crazy. It's massive. It's that people say it's the hardest adjustment for kids going to the NBA.
It's intimidating.
You don't realize how far it is until you have to shoot like 10 or 15 in a row. Like I've been in the gym and I'll shoot one or two fooling around. I'm like, oh, like it's not that bad. But then once you get put in a workout where you have to shoot 20 NBA threes in a row, you're like, oh my God, like it's so much farther and it takes so much more leg power and energy. So it's a big difference.
Yeah, so you're that kid, get some jump shots in. If you want to be a hooper, you want to be a shooter, you gotta get your shots up.
Right.
We're not even joking when it's a 500 to 1,000 a day. Like, that's what it was. I mean, even when I was at Cuse, it was like, okay, I'm 135 pound, 5'10" kid, like, and I want to play, so I gotta go get shots up. I remember even GMAC and Hop sitting up in Manley Fieldhouse watching me, and I changed my shot up so much. My shot was so inconsistent. Like it would just try and change it probably every fifth shot. And I'd be in there shooting for like hours. I had to convince some managers I would stay and rebound for a walk-on.
Yeah.
Shoot and shoot and shoot. But I mean that stubbornness and that willpower is going to be the difference between you wanting to.
Yeah, definitely.
Wanting to get seen and get noticed. A lot of guys, especially whether they're college, they do play in college or walk-ons. A lot of guys in basketball programs seem to take, it's tough to stay in the game, because I tried doing it, going and playing.
Right.
It's tough playing, and now you seem to be going the skills and coaching route. And there's we'll just say 1,000. We're not going to use a million, but there's a million, there's 1,000 other coaches out there in terms of skills trainers. I mean, I remember Brandon Trish had his own guy coming into the gym. Hughes, these guys have their own guys here. They're from here. So, how do you break in, as just a regular, regular, just walk on at a college program, and what are you working on now?
Yeah, like you said, man, it's tough. I don't think I'm gonna, try and go play or do anything like that. I haven't played an organized basketball game, and aside from those little minutes at Cuse in 4 or 5 years, obviously I still love to play, but I think where I'm gonna excel at now is just like the coaching side, the teaching side, like the skills coach, like what you said. But it's all about relationships. These guys have to be able to trust you and trust the work that you put them through, that you're going to be able to help them become a better player. And I think I have a big upside just because, I went to Syracuse. Obviously I was just a walk-on, but being able to say you played basketball at Syracuse, for 4 or 5 years, it gives you a lot of credibility. So I think that helps me a lot.
Oh, I mean, especially when it comes down to people asking about the 2-3 zone. You become a world-renowned consultant on the 2-3 zone.
Exactly.
Syracuse University. And I was talking with Devo about that, like just talking about like how we're taught the 2-3 zone, and then it's just ways that no one else has taught it or tried to implement it in other places. Like it's crazy.
Coming out of high school, I didn't think it was going to be anything anything special, and that it was going to be too hard to play against. But if you're a guard under, I'm going to say 5'11", 6 foot, and you're the point guard, and you have to play against that 2-3 zone where you have 6'7" at the top, 6'6" at the top, and then 6'9", 7 foot, 6'10" in the bottom. It's so difficult to play against, even get a shot off. It's tough, man.
We did it. We had a strong.
My team I had a few good orange teams where we gave them a lot of good runs, but it's tough.
I mean, we had that legendary squad. I mean, it was Tomaszewski, Matt Lyde, Nick, and then Griff was in, and then you had Nolan or Russ coming in. But no, man. I mean, I I studied so much of the scout team
Mhm.
of all the negative, not negative, but all
Mhm.
the weak points of the zone.
Mhm.
And I also just made sure that I was going to blow up Dion, Trevor,
Right.
Mike, Scoop, and I knew all those weak spots, getting to that
Right.
dead zone. So when that
Mhm.
pass came from the wing, I could
Mhm.
dive in the lane and
Mhm.
get in between those
Yeah.
guys. And then once I got in between there and the center had to come
Mhm.
up, I have the dish off there, the other guy
Mhm.
coming around to the top,
Yeah.
or that outside screen right there, or inside.
Mhm.
Oh man, dude, I cracked that thing on a,
We
on a
were
on a daily.
my orange squads were lucky enough that when I was there, we always had a scholarship player who was redshirting. So it'd be 4 walk-ons. It'd be me, 3 other walk-ons, and then a scholarship player. So we had some height to our team too. Just like you did, me and some of the guards, and then we had a couple guys on our orange team who were 6'7", 6'8". So we gave our starting five some real good runs. But just like you said, it's a lot of fun.
Well, I also think it was mentality. I mean, we were all guys playing with me. We were all, at least me, I was under the Michael Jordan spell.
Hmm.
We watched all those VHS tapes growing up as kids, and I was able to just say like, hey, no, like, I'm gonna be the most stubborn competitor there was. So I mean, I didn't care who we were
Hmm.
playing. I remember you talking about you were yelling at one of the guys for making that
Hmm.
pass. At Cuse, man, I
Yeah.
was the biggest loudmouth. I was laying
Yeah.
the people. It was bad for coach had to
Hmm.
say, "Shut the fuck up," because
Yeah.
I ran. You saw the practices. I mean,
Yeah.
I was gonna make sure that I didn't care what five we had in there.
Hmm.
We were coming out there to bust these guys' ass today.
Yeah.
We are not losing, and I think that is just not just knowing your role, but I think that's such an important role just to have
Yeah.
one of those characters. And I'm not even
Hmm.
tooting my own horn. I just think that it's just that necessary. Um,
Yeah.
in terms of just having those competitors, you
Hmm.
know, um, in the game itself. Because I don't want to
Hmm.
say it's interesting because after watching The Last Dance, the comparisons with LeBron and Mike, I'm forever going to be a Mike guy, just
Right. Yeah. Me too.
love Mike. And everybody, makes the arguments for LeBron and they make the arguments for Jordan. It's
Hmm.
interesting to make the one to say, well, I think Doug Gottlieb had a great one take
Hmm.
on it the other day. Like after the episode 8, is Michael Jordan necessarily the better person? Probably not. Is he a better
Hmm.
teammate? People like to be around him.
Hmm.
LeBron's probably a better teammate. Rob might even be a better dad. He might probably be a better husband. I mean, but
Hmm.
that's because LeBron wants to be liked. He,
Right.
wants to be, it's kind of like the win-win situation. I can go off and be the best player in the world and be the hardest working and can be the biggest asshole, but then also be liked the most. And, that's just the
Hmm.
biggest balance, whether you're in life or sports. I mean, it doesn't work that way. And I think Michael Jordan actually wasn't a better teammate, but
Hmm.
as being that asshole, he was able to get more out of his teammates.
Right.
I think that was a lot of our success at Hughes. I mean, we
Hmm.
just had so many lunatics that
Hmm.
were just, if I'm coming in, I'm not gonna let Scoop have an easy day or Dion have an
Right.
easy day. Like
Hmm.
I'm gonna come in and bust your ass, guys, because
Right.
I want playing time. So I'm treating
Yeah. I
this
want to
like
play. Yeah.
I'm coming there to get some time. I'm going to get some.
Hmm.
So that ain't gonna
Yeah.
work.
Hmm.
I mean, it's tough for guys to find their role in those
Hmm.
situations because I mean that's gonna happen to even guys in the pro circuit. I mean, if you're eighth or ninth man on an NBA squad, I mean, you may be looking at 8 minutes a game.
Right.
If you're lucky, and it's like, do you want to
Hmm.
be a journeyman in that
Hmm.
spot, jumping around from city to city, place to place?
Yeah.
And I think you got an interesting look at that because I mean, you've gotten to work with Isiah Thomas. Are you still working
Hmm.
with him?
Not during the season. But hopefully, once this cools down and the NBA, hopefully we'll get some time to work out before the NBA season starts again. But yeah, last summer, and then we just kept in contact all throughout the year, through the season. Just talking about his game, how his body felt, things like that. But yeah, we're really close.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. Because I remember you were out here. Who were you interning
Hmm.
with out here last summer? 'Cause I remember you came over.
So I was interning for a guy named Drew Hanlon. He runs a basketball company called Pure Sweat. He played Division I at Belmont. He was a big player there, big point guard. And he got into the training business kind of when he was a player. So while he was playing at Belmont, he was working out like David Lee, who at the time was in his All-Star. Was when he was an All-Star with the Knicks. So when he graduated from college, he kept training and blew up really big. And now he trains guys like Brad Beal, Jason Tatum, Zach LaVine, Myers Leonard, Joel Embiid. So he's like the top guy in the training world right now. But he's really good at what he does.
And how'd you get linked up with Isiah?
Yeah. So then in the last summer, I was working with him, and then I was in LA just kind of walking around at like this outdoor strip mall kind of thing in Playa Vista. And I saw Isiah sitting outside like a froyo shop. And I think his kids were inside, like, you know, getting some ice, like frozen yogurt or whatever. And I kind of just walked past them and just try to give him some words of encouragement after going through all his, you know, the things he's been through. And I was just like, hey, IT man, keep grinding. And he kind of just laughed. I was like, oh, like, thanks, bro. And then about 20 minutes later, I was sitting outside down the street eating lunch by myself. And Isiah walks by, and he's with one of his buddies. And one of his buddies stops and comes up to talk to me. And he's like, hey, do you work for Syracuse basketball? I had a Syracuse basketball t-shirt on at the time. And I was like, no, like, I'm a player. Like, I have one more year left. He was like, oh, like, that's so cool, whatever. Like, Isiah's looking to get into the gym tonight. Like, do you think you'd want to, like, rebound for him, pass for him, whatever? I was like, yeah, like, definitely. Like, I can get him in the gym. I have access to a gym out here. Like, let me know. So he took down my number. And then Isiah texted me like an hour later and was like, oh, hey, like, can we get in the gym tonight, whatever? So then we got in the gym that night, and I just rebounded for him, passed for him, did whatever he told me to do, really. And then the next day, he just texted me again and was like, hey, bro, can we get in the gym tonight? And I was like, yeah, for sure. And, like, by the way, like, I do some training stuff. Like, I'd love to put you through a workout sometime if you want some new drills. And he texted me back right away. I was like, nah, bro, like, I do my own thing. Like, all good, though. And I was like, all right, like, whatever, like, my bad. And then a couple hours later, he texted me again. Was like, hey, like, this time tonight's good for you? And I was just like, yeah, sure. And again, I was like, hey, like, if you want some new stuff for tonight, just let me know. And then again, he kind of shot me down. He was like, nah, like, I do my own thing. I was like, all right, cool, no worries. Like, see you later. And then like an hour goes by, and he texted me back and was like, hey, bro, like, I do want some new stuff for tonight. Like, let's like, I want you to put me through a workout. So then we got in the gym that night. I put him through a workout, and it went amazing. And then a few days later, I was in Vegas for the NBA Summer League, and he randomly texted me. He was like, hey, man, like, I have to go to China next week. Can you come with me? Like, I want you to work me out while we're out there. So it was just crazy how it happened. We ended up going to China together, flying out there together, and we worked out for like 8 days out there. And it was awesome. So he's a great guy, and it went really well.
How'd that work out with compliance and you going to China with an NBA player to train him?
Yeah. I actually had to get cleared. So I actually like had to call Q's up. I called GMAC and told them like right away. I was like, hey, man, because we were actually going to Italy like right after that. So I was like, hey, G, like, I'm going to China next week. Like, is that cool? Like, I know we're practicing right now. Because like they were actually doing like official practices before the Italy trip. So then he put me in touch with our compliance guy, and I just had to tell them what happened and things like that. And they got it cleared by the NCAA. So it worked out fine. And then I flew from China to LA, from LA to Syracuse. And then two days later, I was on another flight to Italy. So it was a crazy turnaround.
Who is running compliance for us these days? No, I don't think it's the same people.
I don't think so. I'm not sure. He's this guy who like travels with us to every game. He's a younger guy. His name's Mark Wheeler, but he's a great guy. He's good at what he does.
He may not have been working with us, but I think I know who this guy is. Yeah, man. People don't understand like how much, the NCAA really tries to abide by us not getting a unfair advantage, so to say, compared to other players. So even like. It's just nuts the limitations that college athletes have. You get put into an unreal situation because of the hard work you've done as a basketball player. Someone noticed you because you had a t-shirt on for Syracuse and you played there, you've trained with these guys, and you get the opportunity there, and it's like you got to ask your parents, it's just such a weird dichotomy that still exists.
Right.
With the NCAA organization the control they have and the power they have over players. But I mean, I'm glad you got to slip through the cracks and make that happen because
Yeah, I appreciate it.
For the longest time, I mean, you know, you gotta hide the stuff you do and the jobs you take as an athlete. It's you know, I think Zion Williamson right now is fucked with
Yeah.
with a bunch of, you know, cash that he probably took from all these different things. So I mean, I think everybody who played with when I was at Cuse, we all got our wins taken away, or at least like a 2010, 2012 gap with Fab.
Yeah.
So, you know, you go from the winningest player at Cuse to the losingest player. I mean, Brandon Trish, I think on his run ended up having the most wins anyways after, but it's just like, it just nuts. It's like, in the end, does it really matter? Does anyone really care? You know, you have the 2 rings on, like, it's weird, man.
It's
what do you
funny
think about
when
that?
like, it's funny when I'm watching TV now and like they'll put up like the top winningest coaches of all time, and Boeheim only has like 900 something now, and I just laugh because everyone knows he has over 1,000. Like the fact that the NCAA took those wins away from him just because, you know, whatever happened with Fab, and obviously rest in peace, Fab Melo. He's a great person, a great player, but it's just, I don't know, man. The NCAA, they just, I know they're changing stuff right now, and I don't know how much you know about that. I think starting 2021, you can benefit off your likeness. So we'll see what happens. I don't know.
I mean, I talked with Scoop about that. Scoop had the #1 selling jersey. I mean, that 2011, 2012 season, you know, and he never got any cash from that. You know, we can't go back and get cash off of those moments, and you know, it's just weird. Why don't we get to look at ourselves, or our families get to look at ourselves like investments that they're making in us? And if someone wants to give them cash for the investment and the time they made, like, you know, they're not getting the money to go to school. You know, by the time we're 18, we're adults. Like, that's going towards us. You know? The sacrifice, the time, money our parents put in is different. So, you know, there's so much more they can still do. It's good that we're finally getting a push and start with, you know, the likeness of the name. I'm really glad that the state of California took the charge on that and said, hey, we're going to just pay all the college athletes anyway. So if you guys don't want to show up, not our problem. We're going to do it anyways. You want to break away from us? You want us to take all of our money that we make away from you? We'll do that. So I'm glad that, you know, it's a bigger conversation in politics, but, you know, a stake in control in that and, you know, look after players like that. And I might not be a LeBron fan, but I'm glad that, you know, him and Maverick Carter, I think, really took the what's his agent's name? LeBron's agent's name.
LeBron, Rich Paul.
Rich Paul. It was Rich and LeBron who really took the charge on getting these college kids paid. And LeBron didn't even go to college. And I mean, I think we're seeing now what's really interesting is the G League is finally pulling players away from college. What was the top recruit who just dropped out of, I don't know if it was Duke or Kentucky, that he left to go to the G League? Do you know what player that was?
I forget his name. There's been a couple guys who've committed to that new G League thing. But I forget the kid you're talking about. I think they have like 3 or 4 guys now, though.
Real deal, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I was never a big like fan into like, okay, like the NCAA should be like paying players like a bunch of cash. But I always felt that, you know, if I'm on Marshall Street and I go into Chipotle and the person at the cash register wants to give me my Chipotle bowl for free, I should be able to take it and not get in trouble. But you can't. If you take that, you know, burrito or whatever for free and someone finds out, you're going to get suspended. So I was always big on that you should be able to take things for free, if, you know, that kind of thing. I wasn't ever big into, you know, someone giving me $20,000 if I'm Zion Williamson, but I don't know. I don't know what you think about that.
No, I mean, I think that, you know, there's definitely a moving chart on, you know, what monetary value each and every player gets. You know, you're thinking that guy in the 1 through 5, you know, they definitely should be getting paid a lot more money than, you know, a guy 8, 9, or 10, you know, especially, You think about I say this, use this example all the time. You think about that big Budweiser lettering at the top of that scoreboard in the dome, and it's all around there. You know how much money they get to be one of 2 on-campus alcohol sellers in the nation stadium? And what are you guys still averaging? 28,000 people a game, 26,000?
Yeah,
Something
like that.
Think how many Labatt Blues and Bud Lights are being sold at $8 maybe now at a stadium pricing, $12 maybe. $12 a beer, 10,000 beers. And who's seeing that money? And that's how many games over the years? 25 games times 100,000 or 200,000 in beer alcohol sales. And now they also have the 44 Club, which has liquor sales, which they're probably charging 25 for a kettle and a soda. I mean, you know, it's who should be seeing that money. And I mean, the college system is it's way too bureaucratic and way too many administration overhead. And that's not just in the athletic programs. That's, all around the campus itself. So
I don't know what it was like when you were there. I don't know what it was like when you were there, but we get I've been on scholarship the past 2 years. I know you were on scholarship for 3 years, 3 or 4 years, I think.
3 or 4.
So we get monthly checks. So I would get a check. Mine was more because I was a graduate student, but I would get a check for $2,600 every month.
Now, was that in grant money, or is that because of your monthly money they would give you towards your meal card to get food that you could transfer over to the card?
It was just a check that you could use for whatever you wanted. They didn't give us it was the grant money, but they didn't give us any money on the super card, like the meal card. And then it just depends. I think the freshmen got $1,500 a month. Mine was more because I was a graduate student, and then I had to pay my rent for it. So mine would be $1,600 or $1,700 a month. But that's a lot of money, for an 18, 19-year-old kid.
Well, I mean, that is, again, that grant money, is either going to your pocket or is going towards your education. And I know they work that deal out. If you're going to be staying off campus or you're going to be staying in one of the, I forgot what those other South Campus apartments are. I don't know where you live, but that money goes back towards your rent. It's not necessarily, you'd be paying for that housing if you were a regular student. We're talking about money like a job, paid for performance, just like the coaching staff is, just like the faculty is, just like even down to the janitor. I don't know if Sue is still there. Sue's still working there?
Sue retired 2 years ago, I think.
God bless
She
Sue.
retired and moved to Florida or wherever, but I was with Sue for 3 years, I think.
Good for Sue. Love that lady. But it's everybody on the campus is paid for by performance. We're not doing regular stuff like other students are. We're out there doing a job, and if we don't do our job, we could lose our scholarship, you could lose our position, you could lose your job. Coach gets fired. Luckily, we got a coach who's been there forever and doesn't want to leave. So your job's kind of safe, but it's still job security. So it's well, what security do we have that these organizations are going to have, because they got players constantly coming in, and it's a monopoly, which happens way too much in America. We're seeing that with other corporations and big business, that everybody else is being squeezed out, and there's no other competition coming from individuals. And if it's all about accessibility, why don't we have more leagues that could potentially exist? The only reason we don't have all these things is because these people want to control how much money they can make. It's a bigger question, man.
Yeah,
it's a bigger question that a lot of people who may have been stereotyped or not had access to marketplaces before in the past, whether it was because of the color of your skin, your sex. I mean, but everybody is feeling that little stranglehold now because power has been so pushed and leveraged towards such a small group of people. The NCAA, the $1 billion organization. This is a private organization for education. Like I said, it's in what people. I think you've experienced this as an athlete, and I think we a lot of us athletes learn the hard way. We don't understand our value, and we don't understand the business side, and I don't think we're taught that business side, especially because we don't go into these college atmospheres, being able to negotiate and being able to demand more.
Right.
So, that people should never forget, like, hey, you have value, especially if you're an athlete and you're coming in there. You should always demand for more. You should always ask for more. And that doesn't mean that means everybody around everything. Always ask for more. If you don't ask, you don't get. And if you don't go out and demand it, you're never going to get it. So that's just my take on it.
Yeah.
But what is there anything going on in terms of at Cuse, helping these guys promote themselves and market themselves as individuals and brands at all?
There's like there'll be some courses and stuff that you can sit down on, and little seminars and things like that that they'll have for athletes, but not too much. Not really. I'm sure there'll be more now that the rules getting changed soon, where you can make money off your likeness. I'm sure they'll have a whole things on how you can benefit from that. But unfortunately, I won't be there at that time. So.
I mean, just more of a chance for me to go back. It's something I've always wanted to do. Once you're older, you wouldn't say learn from your mistakes, but you see the things, the missed opportunities or the opportunities you never seized upon, and I think that is a big thing that I think our program could do a lot better job of, because we're such a pro style program. But it's not just sports now. It's not just being able to get out there and get your shots up. You got to be able to have a backup plan, and you got to be able to work on something. And I think a lot more of our alumni, especially, could be coming back there and doing stuff like that. And I'm not calling anybody out. I haven't been back as much, or helped or coached a lot of these guys. But what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to offer this to you right here on the air, is podcast scholarships to 5 college athletes. I know you were asking me about getting in the podcast game.
I did.
So you got your first offer, podcast scholarship. Whatever you want to know, you want to get on a phone call, help you get set up, help you get established. I'm there to get your feet off the ground and get you moving in the direction of launching the show. So you are the
love that.
You are number 1, even though you're
awesome.
Are you graduated now, or are you still a grad assistant?
No, I'm done.
I'll make an exception. You're still technically in school, we'll say. So my first college podcast scholarship is for you.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
What do you want to podcast about, by the way?
Man, just a lot of basketball talk, a lot of motivation. I feel like kids nowadays, they don't work as hard as they need to. So I was kind of just starting a podcast about some of my experiences, in college and with these NBA guys, just little things like that. So hopefully I can get it started.
Sweet. Guest on the show? Are you gonna be solo? How do you want to make it work?
First episode solo, just a little intro, and then from there on, probably have some guests, things like that. So yeah, that's my plan.
Sweet. You're gonna do a video version? You're gonna have people over the phone? We're gonna be doing it like this?
That's what I was gonna ask you about that. You have the Apple Podcast version, and this version where you put this on YouTube, or where do you put this?
So yeah, this one's live on YouTube right now. So we're gonna be able to take
live on YouTube.
Yeah, so people can be watching while we're streaming this. Probably a 10-second delay on everything. Yeah. But someone could be tuning in and watching all this stuff as we speak, and then it'll be uploaded to the channel immediately after. But yes, there's also the digestible, strictly audible versions where you're just getting the audio, where you see that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart. So that's what I offer as my business. What I've been doing is, and I got a show after this for a gym in LA who I host a podcast for, and I manage and produce that with them. That it's a really unique way to get in touch with an audience, because as much as you've and what I've learned stat wise is 33% last I read is of the population probably in the U.S. listens to podcasts. And another interesting stat is that probably 33% of our population has a college degree and has graduated. So I think there's definitely a correlation between a college education and actually going off listening to podcasts. And I'm not saying that's exclusive. I'm sure there's other exceptions. But you know, it's still such a big new field. It's a really, really big way to continue to tap into an audience, or if, like I said, if you want, it's great for a business in terms of like if there's something you want to be selling, if there's something you want to be promoting, whether it's your your coaching ability, your knowledge, the value you provide, you know, there's nothing wrong with people getting that, and then just a bigger chance for you to get your audience and you get your voice out there to the masses. So yeah, you know, most people still, I think it's like 90-something% consume their stuff on Apple, because Apple has that native podcast app. You have that little purple microphone with the waves going out. So, I mean, we'll still get your show up everywhere, and make sure, you know, if someone's got it on Google Podcasts, they can listen to it on their Android or SoundCloud, and Spotify as well. And yeah, it's just a simple upload to a server. And once we get it on that server, it sends it out. So, yeah, man. Well, I'm excited to get you started. I'm excited to announce the first podcast
me
scholarship.
Too. Awesome.
What podcast do you listen to actually on your own time?
I listen to a lot of the JJ Wright podcasts.
Okay. I listened to one or two of those. He's good.
Yeah. The Woj pod with Adrian Wojnarowski. Those are the big two. Those are the main two I listen to. Just because I'm obviously a big basketball fan, and they talk a lot of hoops.
No, man, it's great that, you know, again, I mean, you have two solid basketball minds. JJ Redick has a pretty talk radio Rogan style show where it's not, you know, going to be exclusively basketball.
Yeah. And Joe Rogan. Forgot about him. Big Joe Rogan podcast guy, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. And Rogan's great. I kind of model my show kind of around that, you know, where, you know, and I think it's so decentralized that what he does is so great that he has such a wide range of guests on the show, where it's like, oh yeah, I don't want to listen to episode 1432, but you know, oh man, Robert Patrick show just came out, and they're going to be talking about biology, human biology, and new studies done with COVID and how its impact on the cellular system in terms of glucose resistance. Like, oh man, that's got my name all over it right there. I'm listening to that show.
Right.
So I want the same thing to be happening with me. You know, I got a biologist on the last episode. It's just, you can never put out enough valuable information from. I think that's such a big thing going on these days, that so much of our parents and older generation, they're just like, there's too much information out there for me, man. I don't know what's right and what's wrong anymore. It's crazy to think about, you know. It's I consume so much content, but I don't know. Hope I never get to that point where, as best I put it, is this is like a jelly. Your brain's a donut, and you're squeezing all the jelly into it. But once you get to a point, you can't put any more jelly in there. And whatever jelly's in there, that's the jelly that your brain knows for the rest of your time, and it ain't gonna change. You can't put new stuff in there.
Yeah.
Scary thought, man.
It is.
Especially when you get into Alzheimer's and dementia, and just like, oh man, even everything that's there can't be accessed anymore.
Right.
Mind blowing.
Crazy.
Mind blowing.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Did you have any injuries at Cuse? Or did you have any injuries at all?
I did. I broke my thumb in practice, really bad. My sophomore year, I had to get surgery like the next day. It was actually like broke it in two.
You had a Coach Boehme injury.
Yeah, basically. And I think that's it. You know, you get your ankle sprains every couple weeks, but besides from that, those two, I think that was it.
No, so. Of all things, man, that's one thing I've working on my ankle mobility. I've been able to avoid ankle sprains.
I see you on the stretch board all the time on your Instagram.
Shout out to Ryan Cavillas and Brad Pike. Getting me on the stretch board. That was one of the best things I took away from you know, the performance. Those guys taught me so much. I mean, you know, all the players who come in there, you know, and kudos to Coach Boeheim for making sure those two guys are locked down and working with the program, because Brad and Ryan are the best.
Yeah, they're the best. They're really, really great.
Taking care of us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I even remember I went to Ryan in senior year. I ran a 4.3 840. We did a diagonal measurement across the Mello Center courts to 40 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
did an unofficial 4.38. I couldn't believe it. But I'm like, Ryan, I want to run faster. What else can we do?
Yeah.
Like, dude, get away from me, man. Stop.
Yeah.
Get out of the gym. You train too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get out of here. But no, man, those guys are great, and that Mello
Yeah,
Center
they're great.
is a beautiful center. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna learn this the hard way too, man. Once I went to play in Israel first,
Mm-hmm.
and this is just 3 months after leaving Cuse, and I'm over there, and I think I tweak my hip flexor. I can't remember if it was the hip flexor or groin, and I get hurt, and it's like, oh man, okay, guys, I need some ice, and I'm gonna need some ibuprofen, and they're just like, yeah, you're gonna have to get that yourself, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what? And
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, this is not the Mello Center anymore.
Yeah, not anymore.
I'm not gonna be able to.
I don't know if you've seen the new locker room yet. They redid the locker room in the Mello Center. It's nice. It's real nice.
Can't remember. Last time I was there was 2 summers ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So it wasn't done then.
With the TBT team.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're so lucky to have that center. I mean, I know it's got to be tough pickings for a lot of other guys and a lot of other programs who don't get that court.
Right.
The court,
yeah,
the training center, underwater treadmills, like.
Right. Hot tub, cold tub, everything you need.
Ah, man, yeah. Trust me, man, you're gonna miss it. You better find a good gym wherever you
know.
live or where you move to.
Hope so.
Have you decided you're gonna move anywhere? Or you're gonna stay in you're in New Jersey. You're gonna stay there.
Not sure. I'm not sure yet. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Make a decision real soon. So.
Yeah, man. Talk about post college and coming to that realization. Because I remember when we lost to Ohio State my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
I put myself in your shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, I was so mad we lost. Like, we had such a good team, and then we didn't have Fab in that tournament.
Such a good team, yeah.
One of the deepest Syracuse teams ever.
Ever, yeah. Would have been a national championship if Fab played easily.
God damn it, Fab. God damn it. But I remember sitting on the bench. We were in Boston, Fleet Center, and just like that realization, like, college is over. Because basketball's everything, but you were in that moment, and we realized, we can't pull this game out anymore. And for me, it was like, I barely ever cry. I'm the fucking biggest hard ass ever. And I am fighting back tears. Like, Brandon, you are now crying on CBS on the end of the bench that they're gonna pan over to this little white point guard on the side, and you're gonna you're gonna be memed out of, like, hold your fucking crying. So it's gotta be nuts, man. Going with take it outside of basketball. I mean, just life in general for you, being a college kid and this pandemic hits, man. How are you feeling about this? How uncertain is your future right now?
It's difficult just because nobody's hiring. If you want to go out and get a job, not just me, just anybody. If you're any college student now that just graduated, it's such a tough time because so many people, these organizations, there's just not enough jobs for everybody. So it's a crazy time, especially for kids my age looking for jobs right now.
Where are you guys looking?
But
where are you looking for jobs? Where are the new college kids?
Well, I don't know about like kids my age or like kids like I've graduated with. But I've been talking to a lot of NBA teams and stuff like that. So I might join an NBA team organization and do some stuff with them, or I might just try and start my own basketball business. So I'm either going to do one of those two things. So I'm unsure yet, but we'll see. I'll have to make a decision real soon.
Man, yeah, if I can give a word of advice, I think you should still create your own business. You should, like I said, you have a new podcast coming out now, a new podcast that's, going to give you a new insight look to your business. And, you have a shoe-in with the training, and the network and, your experiences. So I think you should definitely follow that path. I think a lot of people are steered away from that path because you know, again, another thing I learned from the game too, man, especially going in from playing sports to content creation. It's like, oh shit, I was an artist then trying to get picked up by a team for my skills and talent, and now I'm trying to make this stuff in order for it to get picked up, and designing it and editing it and cutting it up for, you know, whether it's a news corporation or for myself or for a business or brand. Like, man, it's a hustle and a struggle, but you know, the independence that you can create for yourself, especially when, you know, you have the Isiah Thomas to say, hey, Shaun, I need you out here in China with me. And it's like, okay, I got my own business. I don't got to be anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't got to do that. But at the same time, you know, that security with a, you know, a security with a contract is, you know, a whole nother world. But I mean, a lot of people in your, you know, just recently graduated. Are you considered a millennial or a Gen Zer?
Not sure.
I don't know
one
the timelines.
One of the two.
But yeah, man. I mean, I spoke about it with you before. I mean, getting these guys at Cuse to develop their own brand, or, you know, trying to pursue something that they may like, I think it's so important for a lot of these basketball players, man, because we're so limited because we focus so hard on basketball and sports. So yeah, man, I think you should totally continue to do that, whether you're developing, you know, basketball skills program, selling it. Like, I know it came into a consulting podcast.
Right.
I think you got to pursue it, man.
I was lucky enough that I had an older brother that kind of went through the same process. So, you know, Kevin was hounded me ever since I was a sophomore. Hey, you know, you got to start thinking about what you're going to do after school. So I kind of had an early advantage over some of my buddies, but if I didn't have him, I wouldn't have started to, you know, think about what life after Syracuse basketball was going to be until a few months ago. But lucky enough, I had a jump start on it. So, you know, all credit to Kevin. He really helped me out with, you know, what I wanted to do.
Yeah, Kevin. We don't call him Kevin. We call him Belbey. I don't know if you ever heard that name before.
Belbs. Yeah, but I'm the Belbs now. I'm the Belbs now in the Syracuse basketball program now.
No, the Kev's great. I talked to him the other day about there's another podcast position networking thing opening up somewhere. No, but he's great. I mean, I know he's doing great, especially with the talent management in the sports entertainment side. I know he was asking about a few people, a few other college athletes who went over into that space. He was asking about them. So I don't actually know if they were working together now, but she's a former soccer player at American and then UF, and she calls the games for the Orioles now. So she's got like a solid position. Sarah Perlman.
Okay.
Yeah. But yo, man, I think we are going to wrap it up and wind down.
Sounds good. Awesome.
Pumped to offer you the first podcast scholarship program. But before I go off into signing off on the program, please let people know where they can find you, where they can connect with you, whether it's looking for basketball drills, basketball training, or basketball consulting, man, or even people looking for hiring a young guy like yourself, man. Put your pitch out there, man.
My Twitter at Shaun Belbey. Instagram at Shaun_Belbey. I'm on my social media a lot. And unlike a lot of other, you know, college basketball players, I respond to all my comments, all my DMs. So if, you know, anyone out there wants to get in touch with me, just DM me, and I'm sure I'll get back to you, you know, as soon as I can. So I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. I'm happy to have you on the show. I'm going to be super happy to get you on again. Excited to get you on the podcast airwaves, man. It's
definitely
a big step, and it's a learning experience. And thank you to everybody who tuned into the episode. If you're watching this live right now on YouTube, welcome on the bus. Welcome to the bus driver experience. Go ahead, subscribe to the show for future shows. I don't need you to like and comment on that stuff, but if you want to connect with the basketball people, I know we've had a lot of basketball shows that just happened. I got not a basketball player on Monday. We have the guy from the Institute of, I don't know exactly what his thing is, but he is a intellectual dude. He's coming on the show Monday, and I got Arenze Onuaku, former SU basketball player, coming on Wednesday. We got a lot of Syracuse people on this show recently. I'm going to diversify it up, but Go back and check out the old episodes of the podcast. We have Olympians. We have professional athletes. We got scientists, doctors, carnivores, you name it, porn stars. They're on the show. We're talking to amazing people doing interesting things. So if you want to learn about the world, other jobs, what people are doing, go and check out those shows. And there's other video experiences on the channel as well. Massive thank you to Shaun. Go and check out Shaun's page. Be on the lookout for his podcast coming up. And yeah, man, whatever you want to do out there today, go out there and take the first step to doing it. Quit playing games. You want to learn to run, start moving your feet and jogging. You want to learn how to podcast, go message someone and ask them how to do it. That's the first step. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. The bus is out. Cheers. You're good. We're just ending the